Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this pretty bracelet and earring set. So there's a pair of earrings here too. I wanted to show you, we have a little charm dangle here. I have the red one on. This is being made with the Festive treasure bag. I'm also making one with the elegant treasure bag. However, this is a very basic stitch that I'm doing, and it will work very well with most any beads you want. You can use any shape you want to. You do not have to use these oval beads, though I do have some on the website if you want some in some different colors. And you can make them any color scheme you want, of course. But you can also do this with several other shapes. You could probably use a bicone. This should work out fine if you use a bicone on either side and a bicone in the middle. You might want to use a 6mm bicone. You can use anything that's rice shaped, anything that's oval, anything that's cuboid, a little bit longer cuboid, you can use that too. So you can do this quite simply. This is the red one, and this is the one I did with the elegant bag, and it's really pretty too. Back off just, no, that's the wrong way, just a little bit, and it has a little dangle on it too, the little charms that come in the bag, and a set of earrings to go with it. So they turn out really, really pretty. I think the way that they lay out with the oval beads and with the golden framing on the oval beads, they just turn out really nice. So anyway, let's go ahead and look and see what it takes to make this particular project. And also mention really quickly, if you want a treasure bag, there are still some Festive treasure bags available at this time that I am making this video. The elegant treasure bag has sold out. So I disabled that listing, so you won't see it, but you will see the Festive treasure bag if you go to the website. Anyway, let's look and see what it takes to make this project and get started. Okay, for this project today, we will be using beads that were found in the newest treasure bags, Elegant and Festive. As you can see, I've already made the one with the Festive bag, so that's with the reds. So I'm going to show you exactly what I used for that one, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for the Elegant bag, and I will make that one on camera. So what we are going to be using are the 6mm round pearls that are in each bag. In the elegant bag, you have this white smoke color, and in the Festive bag, you have the old lace color. So either one of those. And we'll also be using some cuboids. So in the elegant bag, we're using a 4mm cuboid that is this pretty sparkly gray color. And in the Festive bag, we will be using the clear strand. We will also be using these oval framed beads that are in the treasure bags. So in the elegant bag, you have a black strand and you have a blue strand, so you could use that one too if you would like. And in the Festive bag, you have a red strand. So you'll be using that for the Festive bag. Now, I have beads this shape on the website. You can also use a rice pearl. You can get away with a lot of different shapes in this particular design because it's pretty basic. So you can do this tutorial whether you have the beads that I have or not. But I do have everything you'll need on the website if you would like to visit and get some beads if you didn't get the treasure bag. Just don't feel left out. Then in the, for the charms that I'm using for the earrings and on the end of the bracelet here, in the Festive bag, I am using the 3 little bow knot with the faux pearl in the middle. And in the elegant bag, I am using 3 of the 6 black enameled flowers. So either that or you can use whatever charm you would like to use. But I want the earrings to match the bracelet. So that's what I'm going to be using for mine in the black one. and this is what I'm using in the red one. And get you close so you can see what we're going to do. This is what this little bracelet looks like. You can see I've put a little dangle with the charm on it, and then we're going to make a set of earrings. So let me show you the earrings. These are the earrings we will be making. They're really cute, match nicely. And the other things we're going to be using that will be the same regardless of which bag you choose is you will need an 11O seed bead, 8O seed beads, and 15O seed beads. All of mine are the galvanized permanent finish Starlight. And then you will need one small eye pin. Mine's very short. You can use a regular size eye pin and cut it down. We'll be using that for the dangle on the bracelet. And 2 ear wires. And 3 small wire guardians. This is a size 1 wire guardian. So we're going to be using 3 of those. You can use 4 if you'd like. I use just 1 on the bracelet and I use 2 for the earrings. If you want to, you can use 2 on the bracelet also, but it's going to increase the length of your bracelet if you do. And I don't find it necessary, but if you would like to, you can. And I just lost one. Oh, there he is. Okay, so those are the beads we're going to be using, and then I'm going to use the smoke Fireline. You can also use crystal Fireline, it'll work just fine, but I'm using 6 pound and I'm using a size 12 beading needle. So you'll want to put onto your beading needle at least 4.5 to 5 feet of thread to start with. You will need to extend your Fireline during this process, so there will be a link for a video that will show you how to do that in the description box beneath the video player. So go ahead and get your needle threaded and let's get started. Okay, so first I wanted to mention that you will also need one of the lobster claw clasps that are in your bags. And you will need to add to the bag an 8mm jump ring for your clasping. I forgot to include those, but you will need those. So to start your project, you are going to pick up a 6mm round pearl, and then you're going to pick up an 11O seed bead, and then you're going to pick up one of your oval beads, and then 3 11Os and an 8O. Let's get in close, rearrange a little bit here, and I'll show you what I have. So I have an 8O, 11O, oval framed bead, 3 11Os, and an 8O. And we're going to bring this down to the end of the thread. We're going to leave enough thread to sew back through this because we're going to do this clasping area a little differently than normal. So you want to have at least 4 to 5 inches of thread left on your tail, and you just don't want it to slide off, so you can just kind of hold on to that pearl or hold on to the tail. And then you're going to pick up your clasp and you're going to bring that down to your beads. And again, as you do this, just kind of hold on to your tail and then slide back through the 8O seed bead here, and just the 8O. Make sure to grab onto that 8O and the thread so that you don't knock your beads off your thread, and pull this down. Then you can just kind of scoot the other beads up to it like this. Then you're going to pick up 3 more 11O seed beads, and you can see I'm just kind of holding onto my tail just to keep my beads on there until I finish this. And then I'm going to pick up an oval bead. So I've got 3 11Os, an oval, another 11O, like this. Then we go through the pearl on the bottom here. So from the side that the tail is coming out of, hold on to that tail, hold on to that 6mm round bead, and just pull your thread through until you get something that looks like this. We then want to sew up through this a couple of times just to make sure that it's nice and secure. And then we can put our needle on this side and sew it in so that everything's secure. So it's loose right now, just hold it like this and then begin to sew on the side that your thread is coming out of that 6mm round. Go into the 11O, the oval bead, the 3/11 and the 8/0 underneath the clasping, then go through the loop of the clasp and pull your thread through while holding onto your piece so that you don't distort it completely and pull it off your thread. Then now we're coming out of the clasp, we go down into the 8/0 seed bead, the 3/11 underneath the 8/0 and the oval bead, and the 11/0 on this side of the pearl. Go through the pearl. And here you want to make sure your tail and your working thread don't tie in a knot. Then pull on the tail and the working thread, and then move your working thread back up and through one more time so everything is secure. So we're going to go into the 11/0 again, the oval bead, the 3/11s, the 8/0, and the clasp on this side. Pull your needle through and make sure you have nice tension on it. Go down into the 8/0 right underneath the clasping, the 3/11s underneath it, the oval bead, and then I'm going to go through the 11/0 on the side of the pearl separately because it's at a funny angle, and then I'll go through the pearl also, just like this. Now I'm going to pull tight on both of these threads, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our needle off of our thread or grab another needle, and we're going to put it on this tail thread. Let me see how quickly I can do this without being too much of a headache. I'm going to put it on this one, and we are going to sew up through. Now you want to make sure you have enough thread to do this with, so make sure you leave enough. And then we're coming out of this tail, or out of this 6mm round here. We're just going to go up through the 11/0 seed bead and the oval bead right here. And then I'm going to just kind of go between the oval bead and the 11/0 and make a loop and make sure my thread tucks down between the two, and I'm just going to tie a little knot here. And then I'm going to continue traveling up through the 11/0s, come on, and up through the 8/0, and then through the clasp. Then I'm going to go back down into the 8/0 here, and the 3/11s and the oval bead on this side, and I'm going to exit, and I'm just going to cut that thread off. So very close to the bead, or you can leave a little tag and burn it later, but we need to get through those beads still, so I didn't want any kind of little blob blocking me. So this is what I've got. Now I have to take my needle and put it back on my working thread. So let me see how quickly I can do this. I may have to come back once I get it done, but sometimes I can do it pretty fast and sometimes I can't. So yeah, that's going to be one of the I can'ts. Alright, so I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have rethreaded my needle, and I'm coming out of the 6mm round bead here. I'm going to go up into the 11/0 and just the oval bead. So just those two beads, and I'm going to exit right underneath the 3/11s here, just like this. And I'm going to pull this through. And now I am going to grab one of my cuboids. And, well, come here you. And once I have that on my needle, I'm going to cross over and go down into the oval bead on the other side. So I'm coming out here, I'm going down into this one, and I'm going to pull this cube into place, just like this. Now, we are going to put a little embellishment on this, but we need to go down into the 11/0 and the pearl here. So go down into the 11/0, the pearl, and exit. Do not go into the 11/0 on the other side of the pearl. Pull this down give a little tension on it so that that cuboid is in place nicely. And then you're going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads, and then you're going to pick up another cuboid, and then you're going to pick up 3 more 15-0 seed beads. Okay, so this is what you have. We are now going to go from this pearl into the opposite side of the cuboid that we just placed, just like this. So from the pearl to the cuboid in a diagonal motion, like this. Then we're going to pick up 3 more 15-0 seed beads, and we will go back into the cuboid. So you're going to have to go kind of at an angle here. It'll straighten it up as you pull through. Go through from the cuboid into the center cuboid, just like this. And pull this down. Put your thumb on it, pull your thread, arrange it so that it's centered somewhat, like this. And then pick up 3 more 15-0 seed beads and go into the pearl. Just bypass the 11-0 on both sides and just go into the pearl. Now these want to tangle up and twist and do weird things, so just get them arranged the best you can and pull them down so that they look nice and neat on your piece, just like this. Now we're ready to make our next unit. So how we're going to do that is we're going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a oval bead, an 11-0, a pearl, and I will show you this when I get it. And then an 11-0, an oval, and an 11-0. Come here, come here, come here. Okay, so this is what we have. 11-0, oval, 11-0, pearl, 11-0, oval, 11-0. Now we're coming out of the pearl. We're going to go into the opposite side from which we're exiting that pearl and go through it, making sure to avoid the 11-0s on both sides. We're just going through that pearl, and we pull these around into a circle like this. Now we are going to sew down into the 11-0 and the 11-0, the oval, and the 11-0, and exit. Then you're going to go into the pearl. Now at this point, we're not going to sew around the entire unit because we're going to sew back up through and put some embellishments on, which should give it enough strength. If you want to sew around the entire unit and then exit this pearl, if you can't get enough neatness or if you need more strength, you think, then go ahead and sew all the way through and exit again. However, at this point, you can then make sure that your tension is nice, there's no slack in this unit whatsoever, and then pick up 3 15-0 seed beads onto your needle. Pick up a cuboid and 3 more 15-0 seed beads. So this is what I have. I'm coming out of the pearl. I'm going to skip straight across, go into the opposite side of the pearl here. Again, you want to avoid the 11-0s on either side. Just come through the pearl, and you just kind of have to manipulate it to do that. And pull this through. And pull it down like this. Make sure there's no slack. Arrange your beads the way you want them to look. And then I want my frame on the outside. Yeah, that's how I like it. Oh, well. There we go. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0 seed beads, making sure there's no slack in this whatsoever. Make sure you have nice tension, and then go back into just the cuboid in the center like this. Put your thumb and finger together, holding onto that, and pull your thread down until it's nice and tight like this. Then pick up 3 more 15-0 seed beads onto your needle and avoid the 11-0 on this side and the other side. And just go through the pearl, just like this, and pull this down. Now we are going to pick up an 11-0 and one of our oval beads, and then we are going to pick up an 11-0, a pearl, and an 11-0 oval bead. Come here, you little guy. He won't come. No, he won't. And an 11-0. So this is what you have. Just like this. Let me back off just a little. 11-0 oval, 11-0 pearl, 11-0 oval, 11-0. And then you go into the opposite side of the bead your thread is coming out of. Pull this down. Then we're going to sew halfway through this unit. Now we can go ahead and sew through the whole unit actually, because we're doing the embellishments all at once. I was going to come back through and do it, but obviously I changed my mind. So let's go ahead and sew all the way around this entire unit just to make sure we have enough strength, and it will be perfectly fine. So I've come up through all the beads. I'm going to come back through this pearl right here. And now I am going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads. Then I'm going to pick up a cuboid and 3 15-0s. And we're going to go through the pearl on the opposite side of the unit and on the opposite side from which we're coming out of this pearl. So we're going in a diagonal motion and pull this across. Straighten everything up, make sure those 15-0s go on top, they're not in any weird positions, and then pick up 3 more 15-0 seed beads and go through the crystal. Pull this down. Make sure it's nice and tight and looks pretty. Pick up 3 more 15-0 seed beads. And then go into just the pearl, just like that. Blah, 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 it's all tangled. There we go. I'm going to pull that down. Now, in order to get down to the pearl, because we sewed all the way around this time, strengthening it, and I think it's a good idea since I changed my approach to this while I was doing it. So we are coming out of the pearl. We're going to go down into the 11-0, and we're going to go down into the oval bead, pull this through, and then go into the 11-0 and the pearl and exit the pearl, avoiding the 11-0 on the other side of it, just like this. And again, we'll do the same thing, very repetitive from this point on. We will pick up an 11-0, an oval, an 11-0, a pearl, and come here, pearl, an 11-0, an oval, and an 11-0. Just like this. Go into the opposite side of the pearl we're coming out of. And pull this down. Sew around it. And so we're going into all the beads on this side, then into the pearl. And then the 11-0s in the oval on this side. And into the pearl, just like that. Okay, now we're set up to put our embellishment on. Excuse me. So pick up 3 15-0 seed beads and a cuboid and 3 15-0s. Come here, come here, come here. Oh, really? Come on, beads. Just like that. And then we're going to go into the opposite side of the pearl we're coming out of and into the opposite pearl. So, in a diagonal, You're just going to anchor that little thing across there. And then we're going to anchor the other side by picking up 3 15-0 seed beads, go up through the crystal, pull through, tighten, arrange, make sure it looks good and it's centered, and then pick up 3 more 15-0s and go through the pearl here, just like this. Pull it down, arrange and adjust, and then go down through the 11-0, the oval, and the 11-0 on the side that you're exiting the pearl from. Go into the pearl and repeat. So you're just going to continue making these units until you have 13 pearls. So instead of counting units, I'm counting the pearls. Now on this one, I'm trying to make it a little shorter than this one. I went 14 pearls on this one, and it's just a little too big. If I measure from the end of my jump ring and the end of my lobster claw clasp, this is 7 3/4 inch. It's just a little too loose on me. So I am going to try 13 pearls on this one. So I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the point. I'm just counting my pearls. I'm coming out of the 13th pearl. I'm hoping to get about a 7 to 7.5 inch bracelet this time. Now, I've made my last unit here, my 13th unit, and I'm coming out of this pearl, and now I want to make the end for my clasping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and then I'm going to pick up one of my oval beads, and then I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, and an 8-0. So this is what I have. Let me get my thread arranged here. I have an 11-0, an oval, 3 11-0s, and an 8-0 on my thread, just like this. Get a little closer. Now this is kind of a pain to do, so just kind of bear with me here. You're then going to pick up your wire guardian and go through one side of the wire guardian. And bring it down to your 8-0 seed bead. Hold on to this wire guardian in your hand like this, and then go into the other side of the wire guardian and the 8-0. Just the 8-0, not the 11-0s underneath. Hold on to the wire guardian so you can feel the thread slide through and land in the top divot of that wire guardian. Now it doesn't have to be really pulled tight to the 8-0 yet, but you want to make sure the thread is in the top of the wire guardian, like this. Then you're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, and you're going to go through the other side of, or 3 11-0s, excuse me, an oval and an 11-0, and then you're going to go through the other side of your pearl. So we're going to go through this side. And we're going to pull this down gently to make sure we don't mess up our arrangement with our wire guardian. Then, now that I have this positioned, I'm just going to very, very gently squeeze my wire guardian together so that it lays on top of that 8-0 nicely. You don't want the legs of the wire guardian to be spread way out, straddling that little bead. You want them to be right on top there. Now, we're going to sew through it another time to make sure it's nice and secure. So I am coming out of the pearl here. I'm going to go up into the 11-0 and the oval, the 3 11-0s here, the 8-0, and this side of the wire guardian, just like this. I'm going to hold on to it, pull this down, go into the other side of the wire guardian and the 8-0 seed bead, just like this. I'm again going to hold on to that wire guardian, feel the thread run through my fingers and just lodge itself down in the divot on top of the wire guardian. And then I'm going to go into these 3 11-0 seed beads on this side, down into the oval, the 11-0 on the other side of the oval, and then I'm going to pull my thread through. Now I'm going to go through my pearl. And then I'm going to go up through the 11-0 and the oval and exit. Just exiting that oval right there. And I'm going to pick up one of my cuboids, and I'm going to go directly across and down into the oval on the other side here, and the 11-0 behind it. Try not to grab any other beads, just that oval and 11-0, and then just kind of coax this cuboid between the ovals and under and between the 11-0s there. Let me back up just a tiny bit here. Now we're going to go back into the pearl. Okay, I don't have a lot of thread left. I'm hoping I can get through this. So we're going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads, and we're going to pick up a cuboid and 3 more 15-0 seed beads. Oh, come here, 15-0. Really? 1, 2, 3. Just like that. And then I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to go in a diagonal into the cuboid. So I'm coming out of the pearl. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the cube. Now for some reason, that doesn't want to lay nice. There we go. Then I'm going to pick up 3 more 11-0s, and I'm going to go into the cube. Right like this. And I'm going to hold on to that cube, pull this down, and arrange it so it's nice and neat. Pick up 3 more 15-0s. Go through the other side of the pearl from which I started, and try to arrange this so it looks halfway decent here. Okay, so I hope I was in camera, but this is where we're at now. Now I do not have a ton of thread, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up just this 11-0 seed bead right here. And then I'm going to go between the 11-0 and the oval, just bring my needle up and arrange my thread so that it makes a loop right between those beads and draws down a knot right between those beads. Then I'm going to go ahead and sew up this oval here, then into the cube here, and then down into the oval, and just the oval right there. I'll tie one more knot on this side, hoping I don't have my thread. It caught somewhere, I felt it, so let me fix that. Yeah, I caught it pretty good. So I am going to have to rethread my needle here and pull this thread out. And I will be right back. I'm just going to pull this thread out. It got caught. And then I can just tie a knot here and cut it off. So once you've sewn through, just tie a little knot there and cut it off, leave a little tag and burn it down. And we'll be back and we will finish the end of the bracelet. Okay, sorry about that, guys, but I was able to unravel where my thread had caught, and I just went ahead and tied another knot and cut it off. Now we are going to open a jump ring and finish the end here. So I want to put a little dangle on the actual wire guardian like I did here. So I'll show you. So the way I put my charm on is I put it onto the wire guardian, and then I put my jump ring on the wire guardian. So how we're going to do this to make a dangle is I have this tiny little eye pin, and I have put a cuboid crystal on it. Now, of course, you can use a longer eye pin and then cut it down if you would like. That's fine. I just happen to have these little ones, so I'm going to use it. However, the very end is kind of weird cut, so I'm just going to very gently flush cut that very end there. And then I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers or chain nose pliers. Let's see, I've got flat nose right here. And I'm going to place it right above this little cuboid and leaving just like a millimeter of space between the plier and the cuboid. And I'm going to bend this wire over in a right angle like this. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers and place it at the very end of this wire, and I'm just going to turn until I can't turn anymore. Take my plier out, turn it over, and make sure I get at the very end of that wire and continue to turn until I create a loop on top of that cuboid, just like this. I hope I was in frame. Let's back off a little bit. Now, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to make sure that this little loop is nice and neat, and then I'm going to open it. And I'm going to grab my charm, and I'm going to put my charm on it. So all I did was twist the loop open, and then I'm going to twist the loop back closed. Make sure it's nice and tight against that cuboid like this. And I guess I can try to get closer, but then on the other side, I'm going to open the other eye, just twisting it straight up like this. I'm not pulling it open, I'm just twisting it up. And then I'm going to grab my bracelet, and I'm going to put it on the wire guardian right here. And I'm going to close it. Now I want to make sure it's going to hang the way I want it to. So I'm going to situate my bracelet so that this loop is down towards the bottom of the bracelet here on the wire guardian. And then I'm just going to grab my pliers, and on either side of the opening of this 8mm jump ring, I'm just going to twist the jump ring open, and then I'm going to place right above that dangle that I put on, I'm going to put my jump ring. Hopefully that will lay out fine when I put it on and they don't impede each other. So now I'm just closing it, though it does not want to, so I'm just twisting it back and kind of shimmying it until it's flush and closed. And then I'm going to see how this is going to lay, because, you know, it doesn't always work out the first time. And I think that's going to be okay. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you the bracelet, and then I'll go off camera and put it on, and we'll come back and we'll make a matching pair of earrings. But let me show you what this looks like. I think it turns out just really cute. A very pretty bracelet. I'm going to see what this one measures, because my last one was just a little big. This one, yeah, this one's just at like 7 1/4 inches, so that should be about right. So let me put this on and I'll be back and show it to you. Okay, so here it is. Here's my little dangle. Just turn it so you can see it. Really cute little thing. And he just dangles around. It's hard for you to see on the camera, but he just dangles around. And if he turns over, it's okay because he's gold. Or you can put him on the other way to make sure that, you know, however it dangles best for you. You can adjust it, open the little eye, and put him on a couple of times until he hangs the way you want him to. I think this is good, but yeah, it's good. That works. So this is what this bracelet looks like. We'll get in a little closer, take a sneak peek at it. Very, very pretty bracelet. Very simple, fast moving, and makes a great gift. So I'm going to take this off, and we are going to make a matching set of earrings, and then we'll call it good. Okay, so now we're going to make some earrings to match the bracelets. This is what the red one looks like, and this is what the black one looks like. Now the only difference from what I show you to do with the black one is that you're going to put a different charm on with the red one. You're going to use your bow knot. Or if you don't have the treasure bag, just use whatever you have on hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to double this because I've already made one. So we're going to be using an ear wire, a wire guardian, one of the charms, and then are the little black flower charms, 2 ovals, 2 cuboids, and 2 8/0s, a pearl, and then we'll be using some 11/0 and 15/0s. And like I said, you're going to double everything because you are going to make 2 earrings, hopefully. So let's put onto our needle about 2 to 2.5 feet of thread. That should be plenty. And then we're going to pick up our pearl, and then an 11/0, and then an oval, and then an 11/0, and then a cuboid. And then you're going to pick up an 11/0, that's a 15/0, duh, an 11/0, and an oval, and then an 11/0. So this is what you should have. You should have a pearl, 11/0, oval, 11/0, cuboid, 11/0, oval, 11/0. And then you're going to just draw this down. Let me rearrange myself here. You're going to draw this down to the end of the thread. You don't have to leave a long tail, but leave enough to tie a knot with, and then go back into just the pearl. And hold on to that pearl and hold on to your tail, perhaps. Hold on to the pearl, hold on to the tail, and go back through the pearl, just like this. And then pull this into a circle. I'm going to pull a little bit more thread through because I have a little bit too much tail. And now I am going to sew back around all these beads until my working thread and my tail thread are next to each other. So I'm just going to go from the pearl into the 3 beads on this side, the 11/0, oval, 11/0, and I'm going to pull that through. Then I'm going to go through the cuboid and the 11/0 on this side, and then the oval and the 11/0 on this side. And now my working thread and my tail thread are together. I'm going to cross my working thread over the tail and then pass the tail through the loop that results twice. And then I'm just going to draw that knot down between the pearl and the 11/0, just like this. Now I'm going to trim this tail down a little, just so it doesn't drive me crazy while I try to create this. And then I'm going to sew all the way back up and into the cuboid. So we're going to go into the pearl on 11/0, and then we're going to go back up, and don't pull so hard that you pull your knot into your pearl, and then just go all the way up into the cuboid. Then we are going to pick up 3 11/0 seed beads onto our needle and an 8/0, and we're going to drop this down to the cuboid. Then we're going to pick up a wire guardian, and we're going to go through one side of the wire guardian like this, and then draw your thread through, not all the way, but enough to where you're close to your earring, and then go through the other side of the ear wire and the 8/0, just like this. Hold on to that 8/0 and wire guardian between your thumb and finger. Slowly draw your thread in until you can draw everything together and you feel that thread go up into the groove of the wire guardian. Now we're coming out of the 8/0. We're going to pick up 3 11/0 seed beads onto our needle. And we're going to go into the opposite side of the cuboid from which we started. So we're going to go into this side now, just like this, and pull this in. Now you're going to sew through this again. So just go ahead and sew up through all the beads. We're going to go through these 311-0. We're going to go through the 8-0. We're going to go through one side of the wire guardian and pull our thread through. Then we're going to go into the other side of the wire guardian and the 8-0 seed bead. Well, maybe. And I'm just going to hold on to that and draw my thread in to make sure it goes into the divot on the wire guardian. Then I'm coming out of the 8-0. I will then pick up the 311-0s right underneath it. And pull my thread through. Now I'm going to go into the cuboid right here. And here, I'm just going to arrange everything. I'm going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads. And I'm going to pick up my other cuboid and 3 15-0s. Just like this. Set that down and get you a little closer here. Now I'm going to go from this side of the cuboid I'm coming out of into this side of the pearl. So in a diagonal, I'm just going to go straight across and go into just the pearl and pull this segment down over the top of the other beads. Then I'm going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads and go into the cuboid. So it's at an angle, so just go into it and that will straighten it up just like this. Hold on to that cuboid and pull these beads down and then just arrange them so that they look nice. And then pick up 3 15-0 seed beads and go into the opposite side of the cuboid from which we started. So we started over here, we're going to go into this side here. Pull this down nice and tight, make it look good. Then we're just going to go ahead and sew around this entire thing to make it nice and sturdy, and then we will add an addition on the bottom. But we want this to be a lot more sturdy than it is, so I'm just going to go from the cuboid down into the 11-0 oval 11-0 into the pearl, and then back up into the 11-0 oval 11-0, and then back into the cuboid. Now we're going to sew halfway down. I want my golden part on the outside. There we go. I'm being picky. We're going to go all the way down to the pearl again. So we're coming out of the cuboid. Let's sew down into the oval and the 11-0 underneath the oval. And then let's go into the pearl. I'm going to try to move that tail a little bit, but I can't. So we're going to go into this pearl and make sure everything's nice and tight and looks good. And then we'll sew back through this embellishment on the top just to make it a little sturdier too, but let's do the embellishment on the bottom first. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads onto your needle and then an 8-0, and you're going to drop this down to the pearl. Then you're going to pick up your charm and go through the loop of the charm. And draw it down, making sure the face of the charm is up. Then go just into the 8-0 seed bead here. Hold on to that 8-0 and pull your thread and draw your charm up to the 8-0, just like that. And then pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and go into the opposite side of the pearl. And just draw this all together so it looks like this. Now we're going to sew through this a couple times just to make sure that it's nice and sturdy, and then we'll sew through the embellishment and we'll knot this off and put an ear wire on it. So we're going down from the pearl, all 3 11-0 seed beads into that 8-0, through the loop of the charm, and then back up the 8-0, the 3 11-0s on this side, and into the pearl. Pull it nice and tight, and let's do that one more time just to make sure. It should be fine, but what the heck, let's do it again. So let's go down all 3 of these and the 8-0, and then into the loop of the charm, just like this. And then we're going to go back up around the loop of the charm into the 8-0 and the 3 11-0s on this side, and then into the pearl. Right here, we're going to go up into the 3 15-0s and the cuboid, and then the 3 15-0s on the other side. If you can't get them, that's okay. Just exit the cuboid and then pick up the 3 15-0s on this side. This is just to make it look a little tighter and prettier. We're going to go into the cuboid, and then into the 3 15-0s on this side, down into the cube here, and then into these 3 15-0s here, and now I'm going to go back into the pearl, and right here between the pearl and the 11-0 on the base units here, we're going to go underneath that thread bridge right here. And I'm trying not to get the 15-0 thread bridge, just the 11-0. Make a loop, go through it, tie a knot, and then I'm going to sew up through these beads one more time. And I think I'll just exit this oval, which I have tied a knot. And let me get this fixed, because you know that's not any good. There we go. Just like that. I'm going to cut this off. Maybe a little shorter than that. I don't want a huge blob. And then I'm just going to get my lighter close and just melt that in and tuck it in, and then find my other tail. I might have sewn it in as I was sewing. Looks like I did. If not, you can go ahead and burn down the tail. And there's your earring. Now we're going to put on our ear wire. So grab your ear wire, find the side that is open, and just crank it open like this. Put it on to your wire guardian and then close it. Just by moving it back the way that you opened it, just like that. Let me get everything out of the way and I will show you our little set of earrings. And here's the matching bracelet. And I am going to also show you the red one. There are still, at this time that I'm making this video, I don't know how long they will last, but there are still some festive bags, so the ones with the reds, left on the website. So if you'd like to get one, you can get one. I disabled the elegant bag because everyone was requesting more, and I don't have any more. So there are the festive bags. They're just as pretty, and they don't have to be Christmassy. You can make stuff with them. If you don't want to do Christmassy stuff, that's okay. So they're there if you want them. Let me get my little charms, and let me show you what these look like. If I can get my poop in a group here. So that's what these look like. I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'll put them both on, but I will show you that in the very beginning of the video because I've already shown you this one on. So when I make my intro, I'll have them both on so you can see them. And this is what they turn out like, and I think they're really, really cute. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want a festive bag, run over and get one. And there will be several more coming. I will be out of town for a few days. However, orders will still be going through, and I will still be making videos and posting them. I've made a couple in advance so that you will not have a delay with your treasure bags. Thank you all for purchasing the bags, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.